Mr. President,
Senator from Missouri.
I'm here with the Senator from Oklahoma, and we're about to be joined by the Senator from Iowa to talk about a topic that Senator Lankford just said is difficult to talk about. When you actually stand up and explain what's going on, it's hard to imagine that we still let these things happen. And Senator Lankford, one thing I'd suggest that we could talk about is the fact that the minds of people have changed on this, and almost all change once you explain the two things that the Congress is focused on this year. Polling on this, I believe 63% of all Americans now believe that these late-term abortions should not be allowed to occur. As you well pointed out, the countries that allow this to happen are not the countries whose social policies you'd want to be aligned with. China, North Korea, who have a stated purpose of eliminating children just for no other reason than population control, and they wind up eliminating more female children than male children in that process, because apparently their belief is that the male child has more economic value going forward. Why would we want to be aligned with countries that look at these issues that way, or just simply think that that pain should be allowed? The House has passed the pain-capable bill, and where are we now in the House on the Born Alive bill? Is it to be voted on this week, or has it been voted on already, Senator?
So in colloquy, the House has passed both a pain-capable and an infant protection born alive. In a prior month, the Senate has yet to take that up, and it is our hope in the Senate to be able to bring that up for real dialogue in conversation in the days ahead.
I think the pain-capable bill was passed by the House in October. We have thousands of Americans coming this week, focusing on tomorrow to talk about this issue. These two bills are two of their priorities, but of course their priority is to honor life. The March for Life is designed to do exactly that. And clearly the March for Life in its 45th year now is not a celebration. It's not an anniversary of celebration. Rather, it's a time to remember that there's a lot that we still need to do to ensure that our society is a society that values every human life, no matter how small, no matter how vulnerable, no matter how little capacity that life has to protect itself. And the way that the society, I think, has decided to deal with this is looking at things like partial birth abortion, the description of which was every bit as bad as the dismembering abortions, but the Congress stepped forward on that topic. Some people who performed that particular act didn't stop doing it, but they're in trouble when you find out they have done it. So thousands of people from all over the country, in fact, tens of thousands of people. It's a number that I believe is always underreported based on looking at the March for Life crowd and any other crowds we see here. I guarantee that the final number, if you take any of those crowds and look at them, you believe that there is a willingness to ignore the thousands of people that come in buses from all over the country in the worst possible weather, more years than not, to stand up and say, we don't want this to happen. Young people, I think, are increasingly more and more defensive of the idea of life and are more and more offended by the places where we've chosen not to draw the line. How could you possibly justify a baby that's born alive and the process that Senator Lankford just described, where you can't take that life, but you can step back and not do anything to save that life? Or the uniquely troubled countries we're involved in that allow developed children, boys and girls, 10 fingers, 10 toes, the ability to feel pain, to inflict that pain on those children at that time. The American people don't support this. Almost nobody who understands what's going on supports it. But if you're asking polling, I think it's, as I said earlier, 63%, more than 6 out of 10 Americans say, how could we be continuing to let that happen? So supporting those who come here, responding to those who understand this, and certainly the two senators on the floor here, the senator from Iowa, the senator from Oklahoma, are among the best advocates for life, among the best advocates for getting information out about life, about adoption, about what happens that our laws allow, that the laws of other countries don't allow. And certainly I'll be welcoming the March to Life this year from Missouri and other states. The vice president last year became the first vice president in the history of the country to speak to the March for Life and made it clear where his views were and where the administration is. The missing component here to do the right thing is the Congress itself. We have an opportunity to step up and do that. We need to have this debate on the floor because people, once they enter into this debate, realize it's not a debate that they want to be in, because the wrong side of this is the side where slightly more than a handful of countries allow to happen what we allow to happen. And I'm pleased to be here on the floor with Senator Lankford and Senator Ernst. And Senator Ernst, I'm going to turn to you now.